Acid is definitely a drug I could see wanting to try.
Yeah.
I've never done it, but my friends who do it or have done it all, and a lot of these are the same guys who did like high doses of shrooms, and they're like, if you're going to do a hallucinogen, just skip the shroom shit, go straight to LSD. And yeah, I trust them on that. Like, apparently you're more apt to, or based on what they said they had a lot more like, freaky or borderline freaky experiences on mushrooms than LSD.
Mushroom is like a plant, and it's like natural, and people look at it, and then LSD is like acid, and it's got a crazy chemical name.
Mm-hmm.
It seems so much more scary. Mm-hmm. LSD is so much easier, and you're so much more in control than you're on mushrooms. It seems like it would be the opposite, but like the way that I've always heard it explained, and I think is totally apt, is that when you take mushrooms, you are going to go wherever they send you, and you don't have much control over that. And if there's some dark shit that you want, you're there. You're absolutely there. Mm-hmm. Whereas for LSD, the come up is way smoother, and you're so much more in control without ending up in scary places, in my opinion. And I've heard that pretty ubiquitously through people that do both. I think LSD is like a way more fun experience.
Yeah, I mean, without telling the whole stupid story again, like my experience taking a lot of mushrooms ended with me like having a panic attack and like passing out on the floor in a public place. But with like LSD, I had a great fucking time for like 9 goddamn hours just looking at shit.
I've taken mushrooms and never admitted it. It was this year. I was on a motorcycle trip. I'm trying not to like dox the people I was with, but I took 1 gram, which apparently is a pretty small dose. And it was a really good time. Things were super funny. Things that aren't interesting were more interesting. Like it was smoke at a campfire. It looked like it had purple edges or something. And it would, but mostly I just really enjoyed my friend's company. That it did that as an enhancer, and that was my experience. I wasn't out of it. I did make sure that I had all my shit together before it kicked in. My tent was up. My clothes. I changed my clothes. The fire was started. I got all my shit done before it kicked in. But so all I had to do was sit in the camp chair, enjoy the warmth, keep the fire going, and enjoy my friend. And it was actually pretty awesome. It was a super good experience. And 1 gram is mild, like I said. And I assume it goes by the size of you, like any other drug. So
I don't think for psychedelics, I don't know if it does.
Okay.
I think because it's like a blood, or it's like a brain, like neurotransmitter thing. Like I think it's like alcohol is a body weight thing. I think amphetamines are body weight things. But I think when it comes to like LSD or mushrooms or DMT, I think the same amount of similar effects of people. That's what I've heard.
I hope that's true, because the small guy was being a real bitch about it.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely out of my depth, and I've never been any other size. But it was like a super positive experience. Oh, and by the way, there was no downside on the other half. With alcohol, for example, you have a really good night filled with laughs, and you wake up in the morning feeling like shit. Even if you're not hungover, you're not sharp and good and happy.
Yeah, you're not where you want to be. You're like, I'm not at 100%.
And you've like either taken on a lot of calories, or you've beat the shit out of your liver a little bit. Like the crazy thing about psychedelics is 2 huge things. One is that they're relatively safe. Like that, well, not even relatively, they're very safe. Probably even compared to most foods you eat, they're pretty safe, right? You eat them, you process them, you have a fun time, you're done. The second thing though is, oh my God, the entertainment to dollar ratio compared to traditional drugs is unreal. When I did acid for the first time, and I was like, $10 for 2 tabs of acid, and I'm having fun for 12 hours. And I live out in LA. If I want to go get drunk, it's $15 a mixed drink. This shit is unbelievable with no downsides. Like that was the craziest thing to me, is how cheap these things are, and then how much fun you have.
It's $5 a hit, and like, I mean, $20 will send you to a real fun place.
Oh,
like for a long time,
all night.
I want to say this. I was with subject matter experts. And they call it set and setting. I wish they called it mindset and setting, because that's what they mean. But it's important that like you're having a good day and you're having a chill time, and you're like, wherever you are, it's okay if you go ×3 on it. If you're pissed off and that's where you start your mushrooms, and that's not a good time to do it. And then the setting. someplace safe, someplace
Walmart.
happy. In my case, it was camping. And, it says get your setting right. Dude, do a low dose, especially if you're new. I did a low dose that you might consider a pussy dose, and I really had a positive experience.
Yeah, you can't take pussy dose people seriously, where they're like, "Oh, you don't have a huge problem with mushrooms like me."
I ego dose my drugs, bro.
Yeah, that's why when I drink Everclear, no chase.
Everclear.
I want my stomach like lining burning through.
Yeah,
I didn't even get like that like feeling of euphoria you're talking about. I've only done mushrooms once also, and I don't know how much I took because it was my roommate freshman year of college who just gave me some off his desk. It was definitely a low dose, but like I don't remember feeling like joy or anything like that. I just remember like sitting there in our dorm. It was like a Tuesday night or something, and like I was watching It's Always Sunny, like season 2 or something on the DVDs he had. He introduced me to the show, and I just remember like sitting there and like the TV kind of breathing at me. Yeah. Like kind of moving towards me and pulsating, but like, and I thought it was going to get more intense than that. No, it was really like, okay, colors, maybe those are more vivid. Things are, if I focus on something, it starts to manipulate and breathe. I took what he gave me. I have no idea. I didn't even know like how it was dosed or anything. Yeah. I took mushrooms before. I had not smoked weed at that point in my life.
How did you take it? Like what?
I ate it. Like it was, so it tasted rough.
Mine was on I think it was on a spoon, and I chased it with water. Like, so it was ground up to be almost dust. And I ate that off a spoon and then chased it with water.
His wasn't even ground up to like dust. It was like almost like you would mince an onion, like that size of it. And I just ate it and like,
that's how I've had it.
Didn't even chew all of it.
He had a tool that would do that.
I started with whole mushrooms, and just.
You're muted,
Kyle. Muted. Okay. Well, he started with whole mushrooms. You know that much.
The whole mushrooms, then chopped them up with a knife, and then just kind of like rolled them together in a somewhat ball that then starts like falling apart and growing, like doing that thing like when you Hall of Fame. But
when you put water on a straw paper.
Yeah.
Does acid taste like anything, or do you not even know?
Not at all.
So like I've only seen it on like the little tabs, the little pieces of paper. But like it's such a tiny piece of paper, like it's way smaller than you think. There's nothing in my world that is that small that I could compare it to.
That gives you that much. If you look at it the first time, it almost seems like you're getting like kind of pranked. Like you have a microscopic, not microscopic, but a very, very, very tiny square paper, and then you put it on your tongue, and it almost
square.
Looks like
that's funny.
Square centimeter, maybe, but I don't think so. Maybe less.
When I didn't do it in high school, I've never done it, but it was described to me as the size of a postage stamp.
Oh no,
way smaller.
Like if you have a postage stamp, we've got enough for the party.
Yeah, postage stamp is like you got like 20 hits of LSD there.
Could it have, I wonder if it changed, or like maybe it's more pure now and it shrunk and it's like.
There's a whole story with like the production of LSD because like, and I'm no expert, but I want to say that this guy at one point made like 100 million fucking doses or something like that.
He was like the world provider of
for LSD. A long time. Like all the LSD in like the 70s or something was his LSD or whatever the story is. But it's a tiny little piece of paper. It's hard to just get one because you're just like two people are like pulling it opposite ends.
Not that small. It's not like it's a.
My fingernails aren't precise enough to like carefully grab like this thing. It's so small.
How long is the come up? I know Destiny said it was like smooth, but is it like an hour after you take it?
I think
I knew an hour in. And I was like, I want more now. And they're like, well, let's wait a little more. I'm like, no, let's go ahead and start with 2 now. And then like every hour, I added another one. Until I was out.
I think on LSD, I think you're peaking at around 3 hours. And then you peak maybe for like 30 minutes. And then you glide down based on your dosage. That would be like 1 tab about.
Yeah, it was. Okay. But the only like crazy stuff I saw was like everything breathed, it did that sort of pulsating thing, and colors would sort of do this, I don't know, inversion kaleidoscope thing where like the center of the color would revert to the sort of shade that the perimeter was, and that would like revert back and forth, if that makes sense. Like rosy cheeks on a painting, like the edges of it were darker. And then the center was darker, and that would go back and forth if you stared at it. The clouds were fucking moving.
So my tiny mushroom dose had nothing but positive and good vibes. Did your LSD dose do that? Did anyone ever kind of wish they could get off this train?
One person seemed uncomfortable, but almost like they were feigning discomfort to be funny, which is probably why I was being so mean to them.
Because you saw through the ruse.
I guess it's like, stop acting like you're the only one here doing something for the first time. We're all trying something new, and you're ruining it for everyone. You little fuck.
You piece of shit.
But I just felt like he was being like white girl with her first wine spritzer high, and it was annoying. But that was probably just me being an asshole. And like maybe that was appropriate, maybe it wasn't. But fuck him for ruining my high. But yeah, it was a good time. I like LSD. I like watching like.
Would you do it by yourself?
Oh yeah. Like there's no fear. There's no like, oh, I could do LSD and make a silly phone call or walk outside naked. No more than you could do either of those things when you had 3 beers. Like,
see, I wouldn't do mushrooms by myself. Now, probably people would disagree with me and do, but enhancing the good vibes of the people I was with was kind of what it did for me.
Oh, ideally I'm with people. Ideally I'm with a girl and we're having sex, because I think sex on LSD would be the tops. But I would do it alone, I guess is what I'm saying. But I would prefer to be with friends or even family or anybody that you like, that you can hang out and chat with and shoot the shit and joke around and just generally laugh about how the desk over there moved a little. Did you see it? I saw it. Look at it. I'm going to look away. You look at it. You tell me if it moves.
Maybe it's my looking at it that caused it to move.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I've heard of this. This has something to do with quantum entanglement.
This is Schrodinger's table. Yeah.
This is a Jedi thing.
So it's like
Neil deGrasse Tyson told me about this.
So like I know lots of people
if that's right or wrong.
who really enjoy acid, but like you never hear about them like taking too much like over like a week. Like sure they might trip too hard, but I mean like if someone trips acid, it's not like the next day they wake up and they're like, I got to get back in the zone, and then they dose again. Like it seems like a rarer experience.
I was told initially that like, because of whatever it's doing to your brain chemistry, that like you need to wait a couple of weeks to like reload before you do it again, or it's going to be diminishing returns for sure. And I do know that guy from Channel 5, you know, the all gas, no brakes guy who interviews the Sturgis and stuff, he did a ton of acid as like a 13-year-old. And I can't remember what the consequences were, but they're permanent and life-changing. Like, I can't remember what's wrong with him. Like, he always like, he has some kind of like tinnitus, or there's something wrong with him caused by the years of like acid abuse as a child.
Okay, well that's not good.
There's something called HPPD, which is hallucinogenic peripheral persistent disorder, which means you'll see shit in the corner of your eyes, or you'll have like a I don't know if some people have it naturally, but if you look at a wall and it's dark, it's not actually dark. There's kind of like a white like TV fog over everything, like on a staticky channel over everything naturally. You can develop that, I think.
That sounds terrible.
Y'all don't all have that?
I do, but I don't know if I have it from doing drugs or if I always had it, and that kind of worries me. But yeah, so like if you're in a dark room and you look at something, or even just a normal wall, there's like kind of like a TV fuzz over everything, right?
Well, yeah, I can't process walls. Y'all can?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Is it just a solid color for you with no noise?
It's a lot of noise.
I mean, I guess there's some noise.
I can't choose one color. It's mostly gray, but there's darker bits, and it's all random like clouds.
Okay, well, I guess I've never actually thought about this. Yeah, there are bits.
Close your eyes and tell me what you see. We got like 20 more minutes.
Blackness. Solid blackness. Now I'm picturing Kyle naked.